Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode on the Willys. On the whiteboard over here I've consolidated and modified our list. So let's see what there is left to do. I want to replace a heater hose on the heater inside the cab. There's just a small section of the hose that's kind of bad. It's got duct tape around it or something like that. Also, the fan on the heater inside the cab is all rusted out. And the couple times I did use it last winter, the fan will arbitrarily stop for a few seconds and start back up again. And the blades are all rusted. So I think I should remove the whole interior heater unit, get it out of the truck and get it on the bench. I'm not sure there's a whole lot we can do, but I'm gonna try to lube everything up and get the rust off the fan, and hopefully that will allow it to spin more freely and it won't keep stopping, randomly. The next thing is the steering is loose, question mark. I think I've only driven the truck twice on the road, and as I remember, the steering felt a little bit loose to me. But honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong here. I just think it's an old truck, and that's kind of how the steering is. It's not a Cadillac. The steering isn't going to be super tight on it. So again, I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong, but I haven't investigated anything regarding the steering yet. So we'll take a look at the steering box and all the steering components just to make sure everything is good. And yeah, the steering wheel is going to have some play in it. That's just, I think, the nature of the beast. Next thing is I just want to hit all the grease points on the entire vehicle and get it all lubed up. I'm not going to do a video on that because that's boring stuff. I won't make you watch me do that. I'm going to skip down here to the fifth one here. The front differential does have a leak on it. Let me show you. You can see those drips on the ground there. And if you look closely right there, you can see that little bead of oil hanging down there. That's where the drip is. I think what probably needs to happen is we just need to take off the cover and put a new gasket on this and seal it and then fill it back up with oil. These old Willys, not actually even specific to the Willys and the Jeeps, but any of these old cars and tractors from the 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s, they're going to leak from somewhere. I don't care what you do. It's, trying to stop every single tiny little leak on these vehicles is kind of a futile effort. And this leak on the differential here isn't terrible, but it's enough to leave, some wetness on the ground there. But since we have time, we're still waiting around on the engine, I think we'll order a new gasket for this front diff and just get that fixed. It's going to be a messy job, but it should be pretty easy. And if we look down there, that wet spot right there, that's coming from the bottom of the steering box. So I don't know if there's anything that we can do there. Maybe that needs a new gasket in it as well. But things like that, it's not a terrible leak, but if it's something that we can fix, I will try to fix it. Anyway, getting back to the whiteboard here, these two items on the top were there before. I added these three on the bottom, and the one I didn't cover yet is the cab. We haven't really spent much time inside the cab poking around and looking at things. So what I want to do is get in there, look under the seat, look in the glove box, maybe clean it a little bit and just see what's there. And it seems like everything I've been doing lately has been very difficult. These big jobs that keep coming up. So this video is going to be a welcome rest for me. We shouldn't have any cutting or welding or taking things apart and putting things back together. We're just going to inspect things in the cab and clean it out a little bit. The seat upholstery is actually in decent condition. I kind of like that color too. It's got some age to it, but it's in pretty good shape overall. But you can see how dirty the rest is, like the floor. I don't know what this stuff is here. Like it was some type of coating or rubber. It looks like it was intentionally sprayed down here or rolled or whatever, because it goes here and then up the tunnel a little bit and then stops. This was probably somebody's attempt at, preserving the floors, but what happens, as you can see, if the preparation isn't good or you use the wrong product or you don't get a good seal between the rubber and the metal. It allows the atmosphere and moisture to get underneath there, and then what happens is the floor ends up rusting underneath the coating that you were trying to protect the floor with. Obviously that's no good, so I'm going to scrape a bunch of this up to start with, and then we'll see how the driver's side looks after that. All right, I got most of the debris cleaned out of here, and I'm gonna put some rust converter on this while we're working on the driver's side. We'll just let it soak over here for a while, just to get the surface rust off of it. Maybe take a wire wheel to it real quick, and then we'll spray some primer, some paint over the top of it. Because again, you don't want to be putting product over the top of rust. There we go. We'll let that cook for a while. Well, here's the driver's side, and you can see in some areas the metal is quite thin. So I've got the driver's side floor cleaned off also. We're waiting on the rust converter. Let's get this rear seat flipped up, take a look behind there, and then we'll look under the bottom seat. Now I know on a lot of these old utility vehicles, they intentionally made the back seat flip up like this because it was intended to be used as a bunk bed. So two, I would say, relatively small people could sleep in the cab of this truck, one on the bottom and one on the top. I don't know if that's the reason the rear seat flips up on this truck, but it is a possibility. Any of you Willys experts out there know the answer to this, yes or no? Drop it in the comments, I'd be curious to know. Anyway, let's look behind here a little bit. This is from, I don't know what. Almost looks like a door card or maybe the backing of a seat. Let's just go ahead and get rid of this. Besides that, this is just the support for the bottom of the upper seat back. It's a little bit dirty in there, so I'll go ahead and vacuum all that out, and then we'll take a look under the front seat. All right, I vacuumed out behind there, and I've got the bottom seat flipped up and propped with a piece of wood. And let's see what kind of treasures we got in here. So we got some acorns, and we got some remnants of a mouse house. And in here, oh, look what we have here. Remember, we had to replace the motor mounts because the one on the left especially had been had gotten all cracked because the holes weren't in proper alignment. So it looks like somebody had maybe done that in the past also. And we got more acorns. Got some tin foil. I don't know what this is. This is a piece of wood covered with something. Oh, it's like a metal material. Not sure what that would have been for. And here's another one. It's got the same kind of holes, the square holes. I can't think of what these would be for on this truck. More mouse house junk and acorns down in there. I'm gonna pull these out and I'm not gonna throw them away. I'm just gonna save them for a while just because they're curious. Oh boy. This is the main mouse house. That was just a condominium over there. I'm afraid to even, oh my God. Okay, well, we've got some wiring in here and some type of an old switch. This is not something I recognize immediately, so I'll pull that out and put it with the used parts from this truck. I keep everything in a box that we pulled off. That says Allstate on it right there. And some type of a bracket. Definitely factory made. Who knows if it was for this vehicle or not. And this is some type of a handle or a linkage or a switch indicator. And the rest in here is all garbage. All right, we got the mansion and the condo both torn down, vacuumed out, and I got some rust converter down on the bottom there. And while we're waiting for that now, let's look in the glove box. Got some light bulbs. Hold on to those just in case we need them. And oh yeah, look at that. Well, not only is the glove box jacked up, but this, can you see right there? That used to be a heater hose. That's the hose that comes from the heater up to the dash. Oh, right up here in this little slit. There's one on each side. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll have to get most likely 2 of those also. And probably a new glove box, because this isn't good. In fact, I think I'm just going to remove this while I'm in here. Looks like it's just secured with these 2 screws. I could probably just rip it out. It's so dry and brittle, but I'll take those screws out and get it removed. Now there's a better shot of this old heater hose. We're not going to fix that today. I'm going to wait till we do the heater, and we'll do that the heater and the hoses and the fan. We'll do that all at once. And look what I just noticed here. Somebody has carved the 4-wheel drive shift patterns into the glove box. All right, I've let the rust converter sit long enough. Now it's time to get that stuff out of there. Okay, I've got it all dried out. I even shot it with some primer and some flat black on the floors. Just, you know, we got rid of that surface rust, so I wanted to cover it with something, make sure it wouldn't start rusting again. So it looks much better now, but you know, there's still some holes here and there. I think what we really need is some good quality thick floor mats in this rig. I'm not sure what's available, but I think that would really dress up the inside of it. So a few days have passed, and just wanted to show you what we've got here. I got us a new glove box, nice and secure. And if you remember the transfer case project, I told you guys how crappy these rubber boots were that I got. Look how thin this material is. It's just, you know, not very good quality stuff. So I guess that was my fault. I was trying to save a couple bucks and got the cheaper stuff, but you get what you pay for, right? Anyway, because that was my fault, I went ahead and bought some good quality leather boots. These were my contribution to the project. They look good, they fit well, and they're functional. So what more can you ask for? We also have a one-piece rubber floor mat that's on order. It's actually on back order, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to wait a bit for that. But that fits in this entire front area, and it also comes around the edges of the seats here. So I think that's really gonna be nice. You know, it's not carpet, it's made out of rubber, so it's gonna be perfect for an old truck like this. I think it's really gonna clean up the look of the floor. And we're not going too far down the rabbit hole with cosmetics yet, you know, with the shift boots and the floor mats. I just thought that was a good time to get both of those things because it really is going to make the inside of the cab look nice. But as far as these holes in the dash go, there's, I guess, 5 right there. And then there's this one nasty one right there. I do have a couple of ideas for this. But again, this is not something that we're going to address right now because we need to have a larger conversation about what we're going to do with the whole truck regarding the aesthetics, whether or not it's going to be painted, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to leave the dash the way it is for now. The sun visors are not in very good condition. They're pretty old and crusty and brittle. So that's another thing that we're going to save for a later date. But generally speaking, the inside of the cab looks much nicer now that I've cleaned it, got all the dirt out of it. And once again, I think it's going to look really nice when we get that floor mat in here. So I'm going to cross cab off the list for now. And the next thing will be replacing that front diff gasket and stopping that leak. And then after that, we'll probably address the steering and then we'll do the heater. We are nearly complete with the mechanical restoration of the truck. For now, I will say so long, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.